I'm Alan Miller. I teach at Life Academy, which is a program at Berkeley High School. My first grant was for speakers, for poets and artists to present their work at the high school. And I can't remember all of them because that was close to 20 years ago. First time I brought April Sinclair to the high school, I remember that because they'd read her book, students were very excited, to see an author. It was like they were seeing a rock star. It's exciting to bring that kind of experience to students because they're not going to go to the campuses and the bookstores for the most part to hear these people. So you want to bring them in and then try to lure them out.
There's no library in the preschools. There's libraries in each teacher's classroom, and in fact the Berkeley Public Ed Foundation has given a lot of money to support the development of classroom libraries. But those are books that basically stay in the classroom. So what we're buying with this grant are 3 carts, one for each of the 3 preschools, where the person who is in charge of making sure the books go out and come back can take these carts and roll them around to each one of the classrooms, along with backpacks, so that the kids check out a book, put it in their backpack, take it home, and enjoy it with their family, bring it back the next week and get another book.
I want to document like a day in the life at BTech because I don't think most people have any idea of what our student population is like and how dynamic it can be. The kids actually really get a kick out of doing any kind of filming, any kind of editing, using iMovie, using GarageBand to try to put everything together.
The 5th grade is going on an overnight outdoor education field trip. It's an expensive thing to take 53 kids out for multiple days, and we wanted to make sure that everybody could go. The grant really has helped out to ease the burden on parents too, and we found other ways that those kids can get involved in the fundraising effort without having to actually contribute their family's own money.
This year I wrote a grant to have Berkeley Repertory Theater come into my 3rd grade class to do 10 acting sessions with my students. And one reason why I decided to do that was because we do not have an acting program at our school, and I've noticed that my students are very active and natural performers, so I wanted to find a way to get them excited about reading through acting, especially for some of my boys who are lower readers. It'll be 10 weeks and it costs $550, and it's something that I definitely wouldn't be able to do without this grant.
I got 3 grants. I was very lucky. The first one is for a stargazing night. The people who run Chabot bring down a bunch of telescopes, about 4 or 5, and the kids are, and we bring in a fire pit and we have food there, and we turn off all the lights on King campus, which makes it really nice because it's a big dark area. And the kids were able to see the moons of Jupiter, the 4 big moons of Jupiter. They were able to see star nebula. Initially I was looking through the 7th grade history standards, and it was the 400th anniversary of Galileo, who's one of our standards, and Isaac Newton, and just the Renaissance and the Enlightenment. And I'm like, this would be a great event. Last year, a lot of this money came from different sources, but partly out of my own pocket. And this year, with my own personal life happening the way it is, I'm like, I don't have the money for this. And I saw these grant forms, I'm like, I'm just gonna put it in and hope for the best.
We used the money to hire 2 professional facilitators from the Mentoring Center in Oakland, California. And those facilitators are working with 30 to 40 African-American, basically African-American and Latino students who have somehow gotten off track academically at the high school. A lot of these students would have dropped out of school by 10th grade because a lot of the problematic kids are 9th grade kids who come to the high school and really don't understand the transition that's taken place. And we have had a total of about 240 students to go through the program. It's such a wonderful program that kids go out and tell each other, their friends and peers about the program. And a lot of times we come into the classroom and we have standing room only.
I've done a lot of science grants. What I really appreciate about Berkeley Education Foundation is that they let us choose our own ideas. We study in 3rd grade life structures, and we've just finished raising these crayfish, which are very fragile, and I'm hoping to build a real habitat where the fish wouldn't be fragile, and the students could learn more every day, and keep maybe even some journaling about them and drawing, kind of making the environment beautiful, connecting art, science, writing.
The Berkeley Public Education Foundation grant money was also used to help refurbish there were some old benches that were running down, and we added new benches so we have enough space now for a whole class to sit out there and have an outdoor learning space. We weren't even finished with our project last year and started finding kids at recess wandering over into our garden area. It was sort of a nice little quiet, kind of a solitude place for some kids to have more quiet, less rowdy kinds of games.
We do school on Saturdays and we do parent education, and part of it is to make it mandatory that parents also buy into the program of closing the achievement gap. Without Berkeley Public Education, honestly, schools will not survive, even with the tax measure.
Thank you, Berkeley Public Education Fund. Great work.
Thank you, Berkeley Public Education Foundation.
Thank you, Berkeley Public Education Foundation.
You rock!